Science Beetle.
Hey, welcome back, students. This is Math 101 for Science Beetle, and today we're going to be talking about fractions. Now, fractions essentially, from the very get-go, is essentially this: some number being divided by another number. And more importantly, the fraction here represents several things. And so let me just identify the parts. The top part, normally call this the numerator. And the bottom part we normally call the denominator. But I want you to think of these things in a slightly different way. Think of the numerator as the following. Think of the numerator as the part probably like the part of something. Okay. And then think of the denominator as being the total number of parts. Okay? So for example, let's say that I had a box here, I'm just going to represent it like this, and I asked you, what is the fraction if I occupy the area shaded in red out of the entire box? Well, since I know that the box contains 4 spaces, the total number of parts is going to be 4. Out of how many? Which is the part or something that I'm interested in? Well, I'm only interested in the 1, so therefore I write the 1 at the top and I'd separate them by a line. And so the way that I would read this is I would say this is going to be 1 part. The line here in the middle is going to say out of, and then the number 4 is going to be 4. And so we just write the 4. And so let me write that again. Okay. And so what we've got here, fractions then, are a way to kind of represent quantities that we're interested in out of a total amount or a total whole that we're interested in as well. So what if I had a circle and I divided the circle in half, and I asked you then to tell me how much does the shaded area represent? Well, since you could look at this, you can see here that you have essentially 1 part there, and you have another part here for a total of 2. So there are 2 total parts, right? And so if we set this up in terms of a number over a number, and we know that the top number is the number that we're interested in, and the bottom number is the total number of parts that we have to consider, we know that this is going to be, the total number of parts is going to go at the bottom, and since we're only interested in the top portion here, we know that the number is going to be 1/2. Okay? Let's take a look at another example. Let's say that I had another circle, but this time I wanted to divide the circle into 3 parts. How would you represent this as a fraction? If I was only interested in the areas shaded in red. Well, since we know now that we've got 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, we know that the total at the bottom here is equal to 3. And so let's write this slightly different. And we know that we are interested in the shaded parts, and since we've got 2 parts that are shaded, the part that we're interested in is equal to 2. So the answer here would be 2/3. What if I had a figure like this? And I asked you to represent to me, to tell me what fraction of the spaces involved here are colored red. Okay? So what you would need to do is then you would need to go in through and count all the spaces, and we know that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 10 total spaces, and so again, setting up the fraction here, we know that 10 is going to be the total, And how many are shaded? So we just count them. We've got 1, 2, 3. So the total number here is going to be 3. Now our fraction then is going to be 3/10 of the boxes are shaded. So very briefly, that's fractions in a nutshell. What we're going to do at the next lessons here is we're going to follow through and see how we can convert some of these fractions into another form that we have already covered, like decimals, and then convert those into percentages. So we'll catch us at the next lesson, and we'll talk to you soon.